we will celebrate in 2016 the 60th anniversary of the Asia Society's founding. And our founder, John D. Rockefeller III, and his parents as well, were intrepid travelers to Asia. Mr. Rockefeller developed a great passion for the peoples and the cultures of Asia. He had a deep belief in the idea that Americans needed to be far better informed than they were about Asia and about the things he saw and found. He traveled to the Philippines several times in the 1950s, to a nation which at the time was still ravaged, obviously, by the aftermath of war. And Mr. Rockefeller said of the Philippines and the other nations of the region that too many Americans were thinking of Asia then only as a place that was poor and a place that had been beaten down by war. Of course, both those things were true, but he felt strongly that too many Americans had no idea and didn't understand much about the incredible history, rich traditions, and the great cultures of these countries. And the two words he used over and over were, quote, cultural understanding, unquote. And it was to address that deficit of understanding that he founded this institution, and why for 60 years we've worked so hard to build bridges of understanding through all our programs in the areas of policy, education, and the arts and culture of all these great countries. Now, in terms of our history with the Philippines, and I've been going through this, and it's remarkable how much one turns up. We have hosted almost every one of the past presidents of the Philippines. We've hosted your artists, your business leaders. I learned in some reading just last week, I didn't know this when I was at the consulate, that the great Philippine artist and collector Fernando Zobel addressed the Asia Society in 1961. We have a photo, which perhaps we should unearth and use this fall in some way. He gave a special lecture on contemporary art. I learned, perhaps most significant, that the Rockefeller family were also the principal founders and funders of the Magsaysay Award, which, of course, I'm sure all of you know, is known as the so-called Nobel for Asia. So this is the rich tradition which this great exhibition will follow, not just the brilliant treasures of Philippine gold, also the work of contemporary video artists from the Philippines. That's a new addition to our season. Great performers, great films from the Philippines. You'll hear more about those in a moment. And we also hope, and not to put you, Madam Deputy Consul General, on the spot, but we certainly hope to welcome your political leaders to the Asia Society as well during the season of the UN General Assembly. We'd be greatly privileged and honored to have them and to show them the great exhibition. So we are so excited, so grateful and privileged to be hosting this art and to be bringing this rich season in this next chapter in our long history and tradition of celebrating the great people and the great nation.
As we all appreciate, and as already recognized by our Filipino-American community here, the exhibit is one of the most important Philippine cultural events that this side of the world has seen in many years. It will feature over 100 artifacts made of gold that showcase the wealth of the golden age of the Kingdom of Butuan in Mindanao. The gold objects date back to the 12th century, way before the Spanish colonizers came to the Philippines, when the wealth and prominence of that province reached its peak. The exhibit, consisting of gold necklaces, chains, waistbands, bangles, ritual bowls, implements, and ceremonial weapons, illustrates the early use of gold throughout the Philippines. Of course, today we recognize again the partnership of three important institutions that made this exhibit possible. First, the Ayala Museum in Makati. Second, the Central Bank of the Philippines, which also lent some of the gold objects that will be displayed. And third, of course, the Asia Society, which will host this exhibit for the first time here in the U.S. Of course, the fourth partner here is the Filipino-American community, not just in the U.S. Northeast, but we're looking at the entire U.S. mainland. And this exhibit will mark, for the first time in many years, that Philippine culture, its history, heritage, and skill and artistry of its people will be highlighted and celebrated in a way that is not only prestigious, but one that will promote a higher level of understanding and appreciation of Philippine culture by the U.S. mainstream community. The Filipino-American community, therefore, has a direct stake in making this exhibit a success.
I must tell you that when I was invited to help promote this Philippine Gold exhibit, I was very, very excited because I saw it in Ayala Museum, and I could not believe that this artistry of gold, jewelry, and artifacts were made by our ancestors in the year 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th century, even before the Spaniards came. And so I thank Tom and Asia Society for agreeing to present this for 4 months, because it is like our King Tut, the Egyptian king that was buried in the pyramid and discovered. This one, nobody knew about it until now. And so thank you for the Philippine Consulate, Deputy Consul General Kira, for emphasizing that it is really our responsibility, the Filipino-American community, to bring our friends and our relatives and all our group to this exhibit. And for that reason, the Asia Society also agreed that during the 4 months, it's not only the exhibit, but we will have cultural presentation, and you will hear about that later.
This exhibition is just a starting point in some ways, because it inspires us to connect with Philippine culture through the ages, really. And we're really excited about all of the programs that we have. And I think all of you have a calendar of some of the events that we've got planned. And you'll see that there are programs that involve children. There are programs that involve Mayi Theater, and Jorge Ortol is here. Can you wave your hand? For us here at the Asia Society, this work is, a continuation of our relationship with the Philippine community. And in fact, we have worked with Mayi Theater since the year 2000, when we did a theater piece that we co-presented, and we have worked over the years, and we're really thrilled that they are creating a new piece called Alamat, which is about legends of gold, and which will look at different views and bring some of the wonderful theater artists here. As you can see, we also have an exciting opening week in which we will have gala dinners, we will have performances, some extraordinary opera singers bringing a night at the opera, Philippine style, and some incredible voices. I'm not going to go through all of these, although we will have time for a Q&A, but I do want to say how excited we are here at the Asia Society to be a part of the Filipino-American community and part of the larger Philippine community. And it's really, as Tom Nagorski mentioned, our mission. But it's more than our mission, it's really our passion. So thank you for inviting us to be part of this larger family, and to be able to bring together so many incredible artists, political figures, filmmakers, into bringing this celebration to the Asia Society and to New York City.
The Ayala Museum Philippines is pleased to partner with the Asia Society in co-organizing this groundbreaking exhibition from September 11th, you see here, 2015 to January 3rd, 2016. I say groundbreaking, for the material in the exhibition is largely unknown outside the Philippines. In fact, these rare treasures are something of a revelation even within the Philippines. Over the last 40 years, important gold objects have been found throughout the archipelago, but, but largely hidden from the public view due to security concerns. So I'm showing you a distribution map of where these gold objects were recovered, as you see, throughout the archipelago. The exhibition's goal is to shed light on the ancient kingdom of Butuan in northeastern Mindanao Island during the 10th to the 13th centuries. We also want to include some of the early polities and chiefdoms in the neighboring islands, in Luzon and the Visayas, as you see here marked on the map. But the most spectacular gold finds were actually found in the northeastern part of Mindanao in 1981, in the Butuan-Surigao area, see here, where there is a heavy concentration of gold mines near the site of the ancient kingdom of Butuan. The Ayala Museum's collection, which forms the core of the exhibition, was originally assembled by Leandro and Cecilia Locsin from the 1960s to 1981, alongside their well-known Asian export ceramic collection. Other important objects will be on loan from the Central Bank of the Philippines, the Lilly Library, Metropolitan Museum of Art, Musée du Quai Branly in Paris, and the Locsin family. The most spectacular objects in the forthcoming exhibition are from this astonishing discovery in 1981, which is now called the Surigao Treasure. Exquisite gold objects such as you see here were part of an ancient a cache of ancient gold works that were accidentally discovered during a government irrigation project near the present-day city of Butuan.
I must say that when Nina came to me to present the idea of this exhibition and the idea that we might have the opportunity to work together as co-curators, I had no idea that there was this incredible material in the Philippines. And the more I looked at it, the more excited I became, because not only does it show these flourishing civilizations in the Philippines that, as somebody educated about Asian art in the United States, I had absolutely no idea about, but it also clearly showed that there were these incredible maritime trade interactions going on that involved the Philippines. And my own special area of specialization is China, and I saw that there were clear links with China, but also other parts of Southeast Asia and also South Asia, India. This is amazing, amazing stuff. And as Nina said, it's a groundbreaking show, and I think it's really going to open eyes here in the United States. I hope that in the future that the story of the Philippines is going to enter the education system here that teaches people about the development of arts in Asia, because this is an important part of that history that's really been missing for us.
We couldn't be more honored than to work with Loida and Dars Ho and the entire team and the consulate, thank you Consuela, and everyone, to really bring Philippines front and center for the New York community and indeed the global community. How fabulous is this collection? How fabulous is the Philippines? I've had a lot of experience in the Philippines. I've seen the Philippines people very up close in my past role as head of the United Nations World Food Program. And that is the agency in the world that is responsible when disaster hits or war hits to go in and make sure people don't starve to death. And so my introduction to the Philippines was meeting some of the most amazing, generous, patient people on the front lines of disasters after cyclones hit. And I just want to tell you one story, which I haven't told Loida yet, because to me, it's what is the heart of the Philippines. So after one of the great typhoons hit, we went in, and north of Manila, everything was flooded. And Casey Concepcion was our ambassador for the World Food Program, helping us. And we went, and literally, I had to go in a boat to meet people and find out who didn't have food and what we could do, and do a huge food operation for about 1 million people. And we gathered in one place and then went out on this boat, and there was a family, and the water was up to the top of the table, but they were all seating around the table having a meal. And they saw our boat, and they said, "Oh, the World Food Program, this is our last meal, and we can't leave here." And they were eating it with such dignity. And we said, "Oh, we're so sorry, we're just doing an operation to see where the hungry people are. We don't have food right now." And they said, "Oh, you don't have food? Come share with us. Let us feed you." To me, that was the heart of the Philippines, are people who, when the chips are down, there is a smile and the generosity, and this is what we've met through all of you with this team. We're so proud of this collection of gold, pre-colonial gold. It really tells a story of the Philippines that I don't think the world has known. And we're so proud to work with all of you, and also to celebrate the Philippines, to bring the Philippines in front and center here. So we'll do a lot of other programming. You'll hear from Rachel Cooper. We want to bring every dimension of Philippines life and policies and presence in the world to front and center. So one of my heroes in the world is Manny Pacquiao. As you know, he's a great fighter against hunger. He grew up very difficult circumstances, but he symbolizes a lot to me, including that, don't ever let anyone say you can't make your mark in the world, in a big way. And so we hope this season will really bring Philippines and represent it to the world in a very exciting way.
Okay, is there a plan among our colleagues at the University of the Philippines to conduct further research on the material? When we first opened the permanent collection at the Ayala Museum, we had several previews inviting our academic colleagues from various universities, including the University of the Philippines, the archaeology department there, to encourage the professors, the archaeologists, and the students to study the collection and conduct further research on the technology, the iconography, and situating it in a historical context within the context of early Southeast Asia. We also, the National Museum of the Philippines also has been excavating around the areas where many of these gold objects were found. Now, the challenges always facing the National Museum is funding. So there have not been as many excavations as we would have wanted. One of the earlier excavations were funded by the Locsin Foundation. But the good news is there's actually a current excavation ongoing in Butuan, headed by Mary Louise Balunia of the National Museum, who has found another boat in addition to the 11 boats that were found in 1976. And they have found this large so-called mother boat that's probably twice as large and is believed to have been the boat that actually carried the cargo, with the smaller boats as, accompanying subsidiary boats during the trade. We will be inviting Mary Jane Balunia to a symposium that we're organizing in October, and perhaps Adriana might want to say share a few more details about the symposium and our hopes for subsequent repercussions from the symposium.
The symposium is going to be a interdisciplinary symposium, and will include a number of scholars who have been working not only on the gold in the Philippines itself, but also who specialize in gold production in Southeast Asia and Indonesia in particular, and also in China. It will be an attempt to bring together a group of scholars from different areas to start to make a more robust conversation among scholars who specialize in different areas, who haven't had the opportunity to really sit down and talk about this gold and what the implications are. And that's a symposium that will be, of course, of interest to specialists, but it's also open to the public. And we hope as many people as possible will come and learn.
And on behalf of Josette, Sheeran, our president, and Tom Nagorski, our vice president, we are so pleased to be involved with the Filipino community. We see this not only as a fall program, we see this as a relationship that we want to continue well into the future and to grow it and to get to know everyone better and to learn how we can serve this community better. What's so interesting about Asia Society is that we look around the world today at issues and people, and we connect both people and ideas. But we also look back in time to look at where we've all come from and what we've become. And culture is part of us. It's our identity, it's our memory, and through it, it's our continuing imagination. So I thank all of you who have been involved in this, those of you who are helping us in sponsorship ways to bring this whole program together. Loida, to you and your colleagues and your wonderful, wonderful team. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for being with us, and we hope to see you often here in the fall and beyond. Thank you.